From our studios at the corner of 8th and Walton in Bentonville, Arkansas, welcome to Saturday Morning Meeting, where we cover Walmart, Sam's Club, and the consumer product companies that are represented on the racks and shelves throughout the country and around the world. I'm Derek Ridenauer, and our focus is on the insights, trends, and best practices to help you as a supplier grow your business with the world's largest retailer. Thank you for joining us, and coming up today, I'll be talking with Julie James about category management, and reviewing this week's headlines with me are Andy Wiseman and Ken Simpson. But first, the headlines. While the Duck Dynasty controversy continues to rage, CNN Money speculates on whether retailers will continue to sell the TV show's branded merchandise after Phil Robertson made homophobic comments and other inappropriate comments in an interview with GQ magazine. Many stores, including Walmart, stopped selling Paula Deen products earlier this year, but it's not clear yet whether retailers will take the same approach to items connected to the reality show. Opening new Sam's Clubs and expanding private label offerings are just two of the strategies that Walmart plans for China, according to Yahoo Finance. The report states that Sam's Clubs hopes to open at least 10 new clubs every year over the next 6 years. In addition, Walmart is still concerned about competing on price in China and hopes to significantly increase the number of private label brands offered at Walmart stores. How to meet the country's increasing demand for e-commerce shopping options is another issue getting serious consideration. Fresh Plaza reports that Walmart won't be expanding into Hong Kong anytime soon. It will instead continue its expansion on the Chinese mainland, an effort that involves closing underperforming stores and opening new ones in smaller cities. The report states that Walmart is concerned about the expense of entering into the Hong Kong market. ABC News reports that some economists are blaming the income gap for the slow recovery of the U.S. economy. Several analysts note that wages for middle and low-wage jobs have stagnated while salaries have increased in higher-paid professions. The result is an income gap and less money for middle and low-income workers to spend. Retail Wire recently asked its readership to weigh in on whether strategies are getting too lean. 2013 was marked by reports of customer dissatisfaction with out-of-stock products. As some big box stores develop their fresh grocery assortments, poor inventory practices can prove detrimental as customers become unhappy with the quality of produce and other foods. Still, striking a balance between expecting reasonable profit margins and maintaining customer satisfaction remains a significant goal for retailers. Beyoncé recently surprised everyone by releasing her album on iTunes before shipping CDs to retailers. Amazon and Target have responded by announcing that they will not be selling Beyoncé CDs, while Walmart insists that it will sell the CD in response to customer demand. Beyoncé rewarded loyal customer fans by paying a visit to Walmart in Tewksbury, Massachusetts, and buying $50 gift cards for all of the shoppers in the store. Check out Walmart and supplier news as is reported on WalmartNewsNow.com. Joined now by our panel, Andy Wiseman and Ken Simpson. Thank you guys for coming in. I want to start, and Andy, I want to start with you. The wage gap that we talked about in the headlines, ABC News has a poll out, or a study actually out, showing that the gap between the richest Americans and the middle class seems to be widening, something that I don't think a lot of people were surprised about the way things have been going, but let's talk about that.
Well, we see a middle class that's under a lot of pressure. Small business owners are in the middle class. We see that tax increases have impacted the middle class. And Walmart needs a healthy middle class to maintain their position as the leader in retail. I believe a healthy middle class is absolutely paramount to them owning that position, because the middle class buys the Xbox Ones at Christmas time and the trampolines and the more expensive products at Walmart because they know they can get an everyday low price at Walmart on that product. If they're struggling, if taxation and the impact of higher taxes is limiting their ability to spend, they struggle. Walmart will continue to own a huge share of the business. We know they have a disproportionate share of the business with lower income shoppers. The higher end is the higher end. Some of them might shop at Walmart. We know a lot of them shop at Costco and for luxury goods elsewhere. But Walmart needs that healthy middle class. Because
as they struggle, they're going to fall down and go into the dollar store. Can you have a different perspective?
Well, I think there's a bright side to what's going on here, and that is that when people struggle financially, Walmart is going to benefit. I also think that Walmart competes very well, particularly against many regional retailers. If some of these retailers struggle because of some of the things that you've described, I think that Walmart can take advantage of that. So I think there is a bright side to it.
Now, the article also continues to state that many states have begun to move to increase minimum wage. Do you really see that impacts positively, and I'll go to you, Andy, first, does that help? close that gap?
Well, it makes things worse. It disincentivizes young people to move into the middle class in a sense. It could also impact the cost of labor at Walmart in a huge way. None of us are really thinking about that. The kid that makes minimum wage now that gets a bump, well, the other people that have been there for perhaps a year or two that maybe make more than minimum wage, they may also get a bump.
And they may not.
They may not. I didn't. That didn't happen to me.
Didn't happen to me either. But to your point, it also drives up. So even if you're at McDonald's and workers go from making $8.25 up to $15 an hour, the price of that Big Mac is going to go probably double or certainly go up as well. So it may not help. Yeah.
My only other comment would be about just that. I think that there's a bright side to this whole thing. If whether you're a supplier or whether you're Walmart, because when people are financially stressed, they're going to go to Walmart. I think it's good for them.
All right, we'll see how that plays out. Next thing I want to talk about, Beyonce stirred up a lot of really good press for her this last week in Walmart in a store in Massachusetts. She goes in to do some of her shopping, winds up giving close to $38,000 away in $50 gift cards. Ken, what was your take on that?
Yeah, I think in that situation, I'm not so sure Target did the right thing by refusing to sell her CD, but I think in that situation, I think Beyonce did the right thing, and I also think that Walmart did the right thing. I think Beyonce did the right thing by letting iTunes have her CD early, because that's the way that the digital music industry is going. More and more is being sold online. I also think she did a good thing as far as public relations goes for herself and for Walmart by the things that she did in the store. And I think Walmart did the right thing, because Walmart wants to have the products that people want to buy in their stores. I think that's the right thing for them to do. And if you look at people like Douglas McNaughton, he wants to be collaborative. Also Bratsby. Those guys want to be collaborative with suppliers, and what kind of message do you think that sends at Target when they refuse to sell an item that's going to be a good seller? I don't think that's being collaborative with suppliers.
It's surprising to me that Target kind of declined to take that. She released it a week early on iTunes. Target said, no, if we can't have it when it's out there, we don't want it, so we're walking away from it. Especially for their clientele, which typically is the higher middle income, who's much more tech savvy. I think, Andy, you had mentioned earlier that they're very tech savvy and are the ones that are more inclined to go and actually download it. Yeah.
Well, I think the Target shopper identifies with Target and thinking that they're a little more hip, perhaps, than those that shop at Walmart. And this is a cool story because it tells us that Beyonce is a normal person, or at least she's pretending to be. And this is a neat, Walmart is a normal company made up of regular people, and so it's kind of a down-to-earth, good-feeling story right at Christmas time. I like it.
Yeah, you got to hand it to her for going into the store, doing some shopping, picking up some things for her daughter. I think she even bought her own CD in a store. It's good. It's good public relations.
A lot of fans now, certainly in Massachusetts, all walked out there with a $50 shopping card just right around Christmas. All right, the final story. We've got about 2 minutes left here. The final story we want to talk about: Duck Dynasty. Will the retailers pull the Duck Dynasty and Duck Commander paraphernalia and all the merchandise that's out there, or will they continue to run with it? Cracker Barrel made a decision this week that they were going to pull it. Hours later, they came back and said, "Oops, we heard from our clientele. We're going to leave it." Andy?
Well, boy, this is a tough one. I'll say, though, that it appears that Paula Deen's product is back on shelf at Walmart, so we hear from sources. I would say that the question is, who owns the Duck Dynasty license? Does A&E own it? I think they do. If that's the case, it's not in their best interest for that product to be yanked from Walmart and other retailers that carry it, because A&E this is a licensing boon for them right now. Duck Commander, on the other hand, is owned by the family, from my understanding. So nobody made quick announcements that we're getting rid of this product.
No, and they did with Paula Deen. It was very quick as soon as that came out that they moved to pull that.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that her comments seem less incendiary, at least from the public's perspective. As far as I can tell, it seems that her comments were not as controversial as what Duck Dynasty said. I'm not making a judgment on what either of them said. I'm just saying that this seemed to be a lot louder and more in your face than what she did.
Ken?
One thing to consider, whether you're Walmart or you're a supplier, is all the merchandise that's in those Walmart stores. I mean, have you? I mean, they even have Duck Dynasty wine. I think it's exclusive in Walmart stores. But you
Isn't
see,
it moonshine?
you see all the merchandise that they have, and I read that of the 400 million that they do on these products, that half of it that Walmart does that business. So to pull that merchandise out would be really a tough situation for Walmart and for the supplier.
Right.
I haven't seen it marked down.
I haven't either. All right, we're going to have to leave it there. When we come back, we will continue or have a conversation with Julie James. She's a category manager from Hillshire Brands, and that's all coming up as Saturday Morning Meeting continues.
At Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art, we can help your business meetings get out of the box. Way, way out of the box. With refreshing views of the museum's 120-acre grounds, breathtaking architecture, spacious meeting and presentation venues, and top-notch catering from 11, our award-winning restaurant, not to mention more than 400 works of art by American masters. Your meeting at Crystal Bridges will be anything but in the box. Call us today and let our team of professional event planners arrange your next meeting at Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art.
You know, the biggest challenge of working with Walmart is they really expect everyone on the team to know their language, know their terminology, and know exactly how they do business. So that's where Ethan Walton really comes into play. You know, it's the fastest way to get my team members up to speed.
Their business model is suppliers teaching suppliers. So when you come to Ethan Walton, you can count on having very experienced trainers who understand how suppliers work within Walmart, and they take advantage of that and incorporate that into their curriculum.
Welcome back to Saturday Morning Meeting. Joined now by Julie James from Hillshire Brands. Julie, thanks for coming in. We'll talk to you about category management, something you've done, I know, for a while now. How did you get into category management?
Well, category management started for me back at the Clorox company, and it's kind of a traditional step outside of beyond sales analytical role. So I started with Clorox as a sales analyst, and at that time the category positions started opening up, and Walmart started counting on suppliers for more category help from an analytical standpoint, and so it was a natural transition from sales analytics into category.
Let's talk a little bit about category and kind of define what that means so that our viewers can understand.
Okay. Category management is really looking at products in the entire category beyond your own company's brands. So the objective is to have an unbiased look using category insights to help the buyer. It's really an extension of the buying office. So you're helping the buyer really take a holistic look at the category and what the opportunities are. And then in turn, the buyer can go to the suppliers and say, here's my opportunity, who can bring me the solution?
So the difference between category and sales, category more strategic, you would say?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So it's more of a longer term. So really laying the path of the future, looking more long term. If you look at the shopper insights, they don't change a lot. So what you're trying to do is fulfill a shopper need that probably isn't in your category today. And so a lot of times that could take some innovation, or it could take some things that are longer term. So yeah, definitely.
And on the sales side?
Sales side's probably more shorter term. You're trying to reach your objectives each month or each quarter, and so you're trying to ship and sell. So it's definitely more of a strategic look.
And what would you say that some of the biggest challenges are right now, not just within Walmart, but obviously within your category?
Yeah. One of the biggest challenges is really trying to understand what the shopper's doing and what potentially they're switching off to. So today at Walmart at least, and probably even outside, with the environment going on between economics, between millennials, boomers, you know, aging population and all of those sort of things, really trying to find a right solution becomes really challenging because you have different shoppers. So you have an opportunity to please multiple shoppers, but one size won't fix all. So
it's difficult to be a mass retailer as well in today's environment. And we've seen that in some of the data. We've seen where Walmart, and as well as Target and some of the other big mass retailers have kind of struggled with the size of their stores and with the kind of the breadth of the assortment that they have.
Yeah,
It doesn't appeal to everybody.
Yeah, you bring up a great point. For millennials, for example, convenience is a huge factor of which that allows them to feel satisfied with where they shop. So if you're a giant size box, a mass retailer, you're competing against these stores, obviously, like Dollar General and Walgreens, you can stop at the door, run in, and even moms with babies. 2-hour shopping trips these days are a pretty long period of time. People look at convenience in 15-minute sections. So trying to compete against that among, like you said, the assortment, sometimes a narrowed assortment, makes choices easier. So it's definitely a challenge.
But we also saw that didn't work so well with Walmart when they did Project Impact and SKU rationalization. So it's interesting to see how things have kind of evolved, because you go from Walmart being a house of brands, 225,000 square foot store, that hasn't done well for them. It historically did well, but it's not now.
Yeah, you're right. I feel like, though, they probably swung too far. So there's a happy medium, and I feel like probably from a category management, managers are probably helping Walmart try to get back to what should be really more of an equal balance.
So as a category manager, you're going back to, as you're looking at that information, it's not just about your category, right?
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's, I would say, today, category management has really probably turned into aisle management. For example, us at Hillshire, we have breakfast sausage, we have smoked sausage, and we have lunch meat. But, the shopper is looking at that entire aisle. So there's danger in focusing in only on one category, because shoppers look at, you have to think about the holistic view of the shopper. So it changes really what solutions could possibly be.
Okay. We're talking with Julie James, category manager from Hillshire Brands. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation as Saturday Morning Meeting continues.
Cameron Smith & Associates is suppliers' first choice in recruiting the competitive Walmart supplier job market. We connect qualified candidates to CPG jobs in Northwest Arkansas and across the country. CSA also sources sales and marketing professionals for companies providing advertising, marketing, merchandising, and data management services to suppliers. Contact us today at csarecruiters.com.
Today's show has been sponsored in part by 8th & Walton, the premier destination for Walmart supplier education. 8th & Walton offers a variety of services including new supplier onboarding, scorecard optimization, and analysis and reporting. Visit 8thandwalton.com/services to learn more.
Welcome back to Saturday Morning Meeting. Continue our conversation with Julie James from Hillshire Brands. Julie, thanks. We're going to talk about how things have changed in the category management area within Walmart. But as we were at break, I wanted to come back to one thing that you talked about, and that's the aisle management. And it's kind of more, when you're looking at category, it's kind of more than just simply that aisle, because, for example, you have hot dogs.
Right.
And if you look at market basket data and what sells with my item in retail, like for Walmart, there are a whole lot of other things that sell with that. Hot dog buns, obviously simple. Mustard is going to be simple. But when you look at lawn and garden, you're going to have briquettes. Yeah. Possibly. You could have grills with that.
Yeah.
How does that impact it?
Actually, yeah, you bring up a great point. So it kind of parlays into how category management is changing. So, today part of that also is bringing the solution to the shopper. We're finding, if you look at how many times people hit Pinterest just for recipe ideas, and we've talked to our buyers about this. I mean, even things about, it's really beyond the meat. It's like, how do you even fix a sandwich? And it's idea generation. And you're starting to see this actually in some of their circulars where they're providing meal solutions, and here's the dollar value. So you're right. So category management today feels way beyond any particular item in your category, because without doing that, I mean, that's what our the shoppers are looking for today. So how can you make their life convenient? How can you give them some ideas to make life not so boring?
Now now we'll continue on with how it's changed, because 10 years ago, category managers were employed by suppliers, met with the buyers on a pretty ongoing basis, once or twice a week, to talk about strategy and long-term development. Walmart decided they were going to bring some of that in-house. It didn't work as well for them as they thought, and they're kind of pushing that back out. Why do you think it didn't work?
Well, I think there's a huge commitment to category management, and most of that is because it's now shopper driven. And so, you know, suppliers are supposed to know their product better than anyone else, and Sam Walton has always said suppliers know their products best, and that is true now too, as well as finding out that suppliers know who their buyers are as well. So really having to understand that requires an investment, and I think that's something that Walmart probably struggled with without investing in knowing who the really shopper is and what he or she does. It makes it difficult to really get a vision about where the category should go strategically.
So as those roles go back out to suppliers, what do you see anything really changing in terms of what we see at Walmart and what suppliers are able to offer?
I think the thing that's probably changed most over time is category management dealt a lot with data and what, you know, what sold in the past, but you know, that's kind of looking in the rear view mirror.
Which is one of the problems with IRI data.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's good,
yes.
but
Yeah, it's another perspective, but without understanding what unmet needs are, you know, you really can't start to develop things that are going to be something incremental. It's like innovation. So I think one of the changes is the amount of insight generation required for category management is what's really shifted over time. And a lot of teams around here, you probably see an insight person or insight people along with the category people grouped together.
So if somebody wants to get into category management, first steps they need to take?
Yeah, I think experience in sales and understanding, you know, what it takes to sell a product, and then just having those skills to have a broader vision and any skills around understanding what shopper, you know, what the shoppers do, household penetration, a lot of those metrics that you find in panel data will help you have a more holistic view and be able to have, well, really recommend actionable solutions for Walmart.
What do you think what is one of your best resources in terms of finding that?
We do some of our own research. I'm fortunate, actually, Hillshire subscribes to different things like Kantar Retail, Mintel, Hartman. You know, there's a lot of resources out there, and even, you know, if your company doesn't invest that, Google searches and those sort of things, you know, can really help you understand your shopper. And people taking advantage, they have, you know, everybody has a 1-800 customer service number, so that's another advantage to take, you know, to find out what shoppers are saying. Okay.
And then, real quick, just one of the final topics I wanted to get with you because we're almost out of time. SNAP reductions, impact?
Yeah, huge challenge. Because
obviously you didn't really see that one coming. So when you're looking at a category and you're making those strategic plans, you probably didn't see that the government was going to shut down. So
yeah, no. So that one's really interesting and kind of one of these new areas of category management around switching. So if she isn't buying X product today, what is she switching to something cheaper? Maybe for protein, for example. If she were buying lunch meat before, is she buying a cheaper protein like a peanut butter or something else that's really taking that place? So that is a difficult challenge trying to figure out what that is, because the store itself might not be losing the dollars, but the shopper might be switching off to something else.
And then how do you build those baskets? Because obviously that's a big concern that Walmart has. So if they are switching and they're moving, what is one of the things you want to look at to build that basket?
Yeah, I think part of it is this solution idea that Walmart is doing is helping them realize if you put this product with that product and it's, you know, $5 per person per meal or $2 per person per meal, you can kind of help this shopper be more savvy in what they're buying. And then also, you know, rather than just buying the single product, you're also then kind of doing the basket solution. And if you buy spaghetti and, you know, tomato sauce together, you give them more ideas.
Okay. Julie, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming in and sharing your insights with us. And we will be right back, and we'll conclude Saturday Morning Meeting up next.
GigWalk is an on-demand mobile workforce that can collect data and do work at retail. Businesses use GigWalk for retail audits, merchandising, and much more. With 350,000 smartphone-enabled workers available on demand, you get unprecedented speed and coverage across the US, Canada, and the UK. And all work is reviewed for quality and accuracy. Visit gigwalk.com to learn more.
You know, the biggest challenge of working with Walmart is they really expect everyone on the team to know their language, know their terminology, and know exactly how they do business. So that's where 8th and Walton really comes into play. You know, it's the fastest way to get my team members up to speed.
Their business model is suppliers teaching suppliers. So when you come to 8th and Walton, you can count on having very experienced trainers who understand how suppliers work within Walmart, and they take advantage of that and incorporate that into their curriculum.
As always, we appreciate you taking the time to join us. If you have questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you. And please join us next week when our featured guest will be the grand prize winner in Walmart's 2013 Get on the Shelf contest, David Burstein of Legends Home Bedding, and Toomey Oridine of Scribs Customizable Wristbands. From all of us here at Saturday Morning Meeting, thanks for watching. We'll see you next Saturday morning.